Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Ask the Expert. What I do is I bring guests onto the show that are in the Authors and Speakers Visibility Playground group. And we all work together to build our businesses and create new ideas and get new suggestions for how we can move ourselves along in our business and also move our books along if we're in the process of writing them or we've already written one and published it. And I talk to so many entrepreneurs, and I find that a lot of them have them under the bed. Do you have yours under the bed, or is it in boxes out in the garage? I hope not. But if it is, I'm going to talk to you with my guests about how to make a difference in marketing your book. Do you know that some people even pay to go on a book tour? It costs like $10,000. And that doesn't even include having to pay for hotels or flights. And now it's really different. We can't even get out of our house at this point because of our lockdowns that we're dealing with. So how are we going to even go on a book tour? Well, I've got some suggestions for you that will really make a difference. And what I want you to do is pull your book out from under the bed and blow off the dust, because we have some great ideas for you this morning that will really make a difference. And I'm going to give you some of the tips that I use myself. And this is my book right here, Selling Through Your Heart. It has won 4 awards from independent press, from international press, from the Next Generation Indie Awards, and New York Big Books. And get this, in the middle of a pandemic, on March 19th, my book became an international bestseller in 4 countries. Can you believe that? In the middle of this pandemic. And people tell me that they love it because it's just like I'm talking to them. Exactly like I am with you right now. My goal in this show is to help you figure out how to blow off the dust and start getting your book sold. The other thing you're going to do when you get your book sold, you are going to become an expert in what you wrote about your book, in your book. What was the message? What was the intention for your book originally? I'd like you to blow that thought off too, because whatever you wrote is very important to the people who are out there looking for you. If you don't get your book out there, they don't even know there's something that can help them in their lives, right? It's like all marketing. We have to be consistent and persistent in order to make ourselves the go-to guest expert in your area of expertise. Now, in the Authors and Speakers Visibility Playground, the Facebook group, we talk about these kind of things and how to do this. And that's why I'm bringing the guest today to you that has so much to give around this topic. So let me introduce her in right away. Susan Friedman is a publisher, and she's going to give you all the secrets that you want to know. And feel free to ask questions as we move along. Susan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's so good to be here. I love you. Your book has done amazingly well. It was probably one of my bestsellers in the publishing world. So I'm just, it's an honor to be here. So thank you, Shirley.
Oh, I'm so glad you're with me. And I'm so glad you're in the group to help the members, because that's what this is all about, is helping each other, right?
Absolutely. And I love the way that you said blowing the dust off the book.
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, I know that I'm embarrassed to say that I have books in my garage that were not sold, but that was from early on. So I know what that's like. And I know that a lot of authors just don't necessarily know what to do with the books that they've published. After family and friends have bought the book, it's like, what happened? There are no sales.
Yeah, because family and friends don't buy it, do they? I can't tell you how many I just gave out of
Oh, yeah.
mine, and it's very expensive to do that. People don't even appreciate it. They shove it on their bookshelf and then they never look at it again, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the key is, I mean, everybody who's written a book has got a message.
Mhm.
And the world needs the message. The problem is it isn't necessarily for the whole world. So it's identifying who your niche market is.
Yes,
And that's
yes.
the key. That is the key to the kingdom, is to know who your niche market is. And you know as well as I, you know, the number of authors that we talk to, and the first thing I say is, who's your book for?
Mhm.
And they're like, well, it's for everyone. And I'm like, that's great. But how are you proposing to market to everyone? Because not even Procter and Gamble can do that. They've
No.
got a lot more marketing dollars than any of us have. So,
And even if you
so
watch
yeah.
commercials on TV, you can tell, and in fact, it might be a good exercise for people watching this show. You can tell who those commercials are directed at by the types of the people that they put in the commercial, by the message, although some of them I don't get the message at all.
I'm
And I
with you
think,
on that.
what's wrong with me? I don't get the message. Who is this directed at? And that reminds me of authors who write a book and they say it's for everyone.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the first thing when I work with an author is to look at who is that target market, because it's that target market that you need to penetrate. And when you penetrate that marketplace, then things start to open up for you. But
Exactly.
it's knowing that, and that is sort of like the keystone for everything with regard to your book.
Yes.
Because yes, your message may be for everyone, I admit, and I know that many of my authors and the people you work with as well, their motivational, inspirational messages that they want, that they put out into the marketplace. And yeah, you know, that may be for everyone. But I use the analogy, I sort of say that it's dropping that stone, that pebble in the pond, and that the ripples flow out. So you've got to
Exactly.
start in one spot and then let the ripples flow out. You can't start from the edge of the pond and work in. Doesn't work. Doesn't
Exactly.
work.
Exactly. And I love that you say that. You know, Susan has her book called Riches and Niches. I love this book. She sent it to me and I was so grateful to get it because it talks all about what she's telling you, how to identify your niche, and then how to move outward with it in order to do your marketing. So thank you for sending this to me,
Oh,
Susan. I
my
really
pleasure.
appreciate
My
it.
pleasure. Yeah, I mean, it was through I spent 25 years becoming an expert in the trade show industry, which was the industry I was in. And I realized, you know, what did it take for me to become known as the expert in that industry? And it was because I just worked within that industry. I educated that industry. I became known as the go-to person in that industry. And what I did in the Riches and Niches book was I took that experience and I looked at it and I was like, well, what did I do to become that expert? And when I analyzed, because I didn't do it strategically, I must admit it, but when I looked at it in
Did something right.
hindsight, yes, in hindsight, I realized that there were specific strategies that I actually used. And I think the main one was the media, was publicity, was writing. And that really gets you out there and gets you known
Mhm.
as an expert when you can educate other people. And I know
That's a big
you do that brilliantly.
thank you. Yes, we're doing a mastermind in the group now so that we can move through building our business so it's solid because a lot of people have hobbies. and they're considered hobbies, even to the IRS. And we want them to be able to maintain their business, and they can't do it if it doesn't really become a business, right?
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
our books. Our book was a hobby until you get it out there and until you become an expert. So let me ask you, Susan, what do you think is the best way to start identifying who your niche market is?
So I use, and I quote this in the book, I call it the gel formula. And it's what helps make the market stick. So it's an acronym, GEL. G stands for you want to be in a growth market to start with. I mean, it was obviously travel and tourism, telecommunications, energy. Those are sort of healthcare, some of the niche markets, the growth markets rather. The second, the E, stands for experience. And this is really where most people find that they can highlight and narrow their focus is on their expertise. So even though you may not want to stay in that market, you still have expertise in that market. So let me give you an example. And it's one from a dear friend of mine. Her name is Karen. And she is a speaker, but she was also a nurse. She was an RN, but she left that environment because she got burnt out. She didn't enjoy it anymore. But what she wanted to do was to put humor out there in the marketplace because she just enjoyed helping people see the humorous side of life. And I was like, okay, Karen, that's really good. But, who are you doing this for? And she's like, well, again, she came to me with this sort of, well, it's for everyone. And I'm like, yes, Karen, but that's going to be very hard for you. So we looked at her experience in as a nurse, as an RN. And I was like, well, they need your message more than anyone. And you have the credibility in that marketplace as an RN to understand their environment, know the stresses, know what they're challenged with every day. And by you bringing your humor into the marketplace with these people who are so stressed out, then that really is a benefit. So guess what? She's just like one of the go-to people now in the healthcare environment who helps to de-stress nurses. She's got the credibility, and
That's awesome.
yeah. And the L, you've got to love what you do.
Yes.
So that's really important. And I know you love what you do.
Oh, I
mean,
wouldn't do it if I didn't.
Exactly. We wouldn't do it. It oozes out of your pores because, yes, you love it so much. Yeah.
Yes. That's all
Yeah.
about the passion. If you
It
don't have
is.
passion and belief in what it is that your message is and why you came here to earth in the first place, you have a message, you have something that people need. And if you wrote a book, you're halfway there, right? You're just halfway
Exactly.
there. Exactly.
What's interesting is that you talk about passion and your message. I was just on a call with people from the National Speakers Association. They have their big conference in July. It's actually the end of July, beginning of August this year, and it's in Washington, D.C. Well, of course, with what's going on in the environment, we're having to think about, well, is this meeting actually going to take place? And looking at people who have been speakers now who have relied on audiences.
Yes.
And now having to rethink their whole business.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to think differently about your message and how you want to put it out there in the marketplace, because you can't just rely on, being a keynote speaker anymore.
Right.
It won't
Exactly.
work. It won't work. We need
Yes.
this virtual environment
Yes.
because that's how so many people, as we know, are communicating these days.
You know, I was talking yesterday in our mastermind about how it's a level playing field now, where it depended on how many tickets you sold and how many people you got to your event. Now it's a complete level playing field. Everybody is equal. That's something that I really love about it right now. And the question is, what is it you are providing for your niche market, or I call it a target market? What is it you're providing for them? What's bringing them to you at this point? Because I think what I miss most in speaking is playing off of the audience, right? I loved playing off the audience, but I can't do that now. I have to try and watch people's eyes and their reaction online, but you don't get the energy that we used to get standing in
Exactly.
front of people.
Exactly. That energy that really sort of like fuels the fire
Yes.
when you're with them. But you talk about what do people want? And they
Mhm.
want knowledge. They want people that they can trust in terms of information. You know, there's a lot of information out there in the marketplace, some good, some not so good. And
Yes.
how do you differentiate? And so if you've got a message out there, your job is to go out and educate the people who need what you have to offer. And you love your message. You're passionate about it. You wrote the book about it, you know, whatever your message is.
Mhm.
So for me personally, it's the whole idea of finding your niche market, narrowing the focus, and really penetrating that and looking at different aspects of educating that market, because
Mhm.
that's what they're looking for. They're looking for solutions to their different problems, their different challenges, and your message and what you have to offer hopefully will help that.
Yes. And you know, the other thing is, I was talking to my group yesterday about these Facebook groups. Every day I get invited to maybe 4 different Facebook groups. It's ridiculous. And I focus only on those that are in my niche market. That's it. Like you and I were talking this morning about a group that you have. That's my niche market. We have the same market. And so I'll participate with Susan because she has the people that I like to work with, and vice versa. In my group, I have the same niche that she has. So she works with my group. And this is how we lift whole communities all at one time. Because when we're educating and we really care about the people that we're working with, we can make a difference in their lives. That's what we're here to do. And that's what all of you are here to do too. But what I suggested yesterday is that you go through all those groups. Some people, they were raising their hand. I'm in 50 groups. I'm in 75 groups. I'm in 100 groups. You can't do justice. So don't join a group you're not going to participate in, because people just get mad at you. And I happen to be in a situation where I award people for participating in the group. And so they participate. They're very active because they want to be interviewed on this show. They want to be interviewed on Ask the Expert, and they want to give advice in the mastermind group. They get a lot of different ways to play. But if there's other groups you belong to and you're not benefiting from those groups, they're not teaching you anything, they're not providing any expertise for you, it's just a group where people can go in and say whatever it is they want to say, because we do have freedom of speech unless Facebook cuts you off. Cancel those groups. Don't have those groups. Just do 4 groups or 5 groups only if you got the time to participate in 5 groups. But don't tell people that you are going to belong to the group and just be a member. What good is that? You don't bring your expertise to what it is that they're doing. So think about that and get out of all those other groups and focus on your niche groups, like Susan's telling you, so that you can make a difference in their lives. And also you'll get new clients. Woohoo, right?
So one thing that's coming to mind as you're saying that, Charlene, is that yes, being in these Facebook groups is very good, and it's good to interact with other people. However, what you also want to do is to get those people to come to your website, to sign up on your and so get them into your database so that you can start marketing to them directly.
Yes.
Because what if Facebook goes away tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
Which it could, or they could change, their rules and regulations and start charging. And then you lose all the people who you have contacts with. So whatever you can do, get people reward them, like you're saying, give them a reason. Have you got a lead generator, a lead magnet that you can offer them so that they can come to your website, so they can sign up, and then you can start marketing to them?
Yes.
As you know, I mean, I do podcast every week, Book Marketing Mentors, where I've interviewed you a couple of times,
Yeah.
and we talk about different techniques. Now, those are my peeps. These are people I market to on a regular basis. I've got quality rather than quantity, and that's what I always say. It's quality over quantity.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And some people say, oh, you have to have 10,000 people in your
Nope,
database. That's
nope,
totally wrong. I went
nope.
through and I called out so many people that have joined my database, but never made an effort to talk to me. And I think in today's world, it's all about engaging sales on a basis of building relationships first. And that's what I talk about in my book too. And we have to be very, very careful about how we spend our time now, because we'll never get that time back. This is it. Whatever time you are spending right now is a gift to someone else, because you don't ever get it back.
Yeah.
And you could be doing something different instead of sharing and teaching people how to move forward in their business or move forward with writing their book. And I love that you're a publisher. And she's been really wonderful because we've become friends also. So it's
Exactly.
really, really wonderful. We have built relationships together, and now we're doing some programs together. So that makes it work very well, don't you think?
Absolutely. I mean, the whole idea of building that relationship, and having, that's why I say the quality rather than quantity of
Mm-hmm.
people who you can interact with, that you can start doing affiliate programs with, you can do some kind of combo, because we've got different skills, but different skills that blend well together.
Yes.
So that's what you're looking for as well. And many of the people who I interview on the Book Marketing Mentors podcast, I found relationships with that I was like, wow. And I'm blown away, because these are experts in their own field, but yet there's an overlap because of what they can teach my people and then what I can teach their people,
Exactly. That's
So
what you call a
absolutely.
power partner.
A power partner. I love it. I love it. A power partner.
You
Yeah,
know,
we
I
got to
was
be
just going to,
power partners.
yes. So I was going to say, when you're networking, you have three options for anybody that you meet. Three. Did you know that? Three. One is maybe it's a client for you, right? Maybe it's a client for you. Maybe it's a power partner that you can refer to. And that's another thing that we do in our group is we refer to each other and pay referral fees. So you've got a whole marketing team behind you instead of you just trying to do it yourself. Or maybe that person, the third thing is, can open doors for you that you wouldn't have opened before. So think about everybody that you meet is there's a way to interact and a way to support them. And in reaching out and supporting them, they will support you, right?
Very much so. Very much so. It's a give and take.
Yeah.
And, you've got to give. You
Mhm.
can't only take. People want to take. They want to, buy, buy, buy. That's the worst thing that you can do in terms of developing a relationship, as you well know. And
Right.
I know that you do this in your book so well. And that is, you've got to give first of yourself. I mean, now
Exactly.
during this time, we're giving away so much for free, and it's fine. I'm totally okay with that, because this too will be over and people will come back and remember you. And there's that reciprocity. People want to give back to you. And if you've given to them, they want to give back to you. So
Absolutely.
believe in that, and,
Yes.
knock and the door will open for you.
Exactly. Well, Susan, thank you so much. Our time rushes on in this.
Wow.
Is that fast or what?
Yes. My goodness.
And don't forget to get her book. You can have it delivered right to your door. It's a great book. I loved it, and I know you will too. And it'll really help you refine your niche.
Thank you.
And so I just want to do a bit of a recap. What we said was that in order for you to become an expert in your area of expertise, or whatever you've written your book about, you need to have a niche so that you can move forward with what it is that you want to share. Now, I put the link up before, and I'm going to do it again for how to reach Susan. And as I said, she is a publisher, an amazing publisher. And I loved working with her. And she told you about these fabulous groups. So reach out to Susan and find out how you can participate with her groups. See if you could be a power partner with Susan like I am. So remember what I said, get your book out and blow it off and become an expert in your area of expertise. And it all begins with simply finding your niche market. I'll see you next week on Friday. Join the group, Authors and Speakers Visibility Playground on Facebook. I'd love to have you in there. Come and join the mastermind. Bring your expertise to the mastermind, and you will get business. And not only that, what's even better, you will have a whole sales team for free that you can just pay referrals, and you'll have a lot more clients. So become an expert in your area of expertise, based on your book, and you will have an income all on your own, even though we're staying at home. See you next Friday on Ask the Expert. Bye-bye.